Hey everyone, Jared Gray here, and I'm playing Niklaus Golf for the SNES. This game was created by Sculpture Software. The original designer was Ned Martin. He created it for an IBM personal computer, but it was ported over to the Super Nintendo by Sculpture Software. They did a lot of ports actually for the Super Nintendo. It was one of the first golf sims, and it's kind of rough, although it's actually kind of fun to play, as long as you pretend you know what you're doing. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna start a new game. The restoring a save game uses a password system, so you would type in a password of a certain length and certain digits, and it would restore your game. If it was a correct one, it would restore your game to a different game state, trying to line up with whatever you had at the time. We're going to select the Bear Tracks golf course. There's only two of them in this game, and we're gonna play one player because I wouldn't put anyone else through this. Alright, so we're just gonna play a round of golf. It does tell you how the golf course, what shape it's in, as in the conditions for it, which does actually affect gameplay, which is pretty interesting. I like that as one of the first 16-bit golf sims, they still went a little bit beyond what they had to do to, set themselves up and still tried to make it an interesting game. We got Niklaus over here giving us some tips, which is great because trust me, you need them playing this game. I definitely do. I'm bad at golf in real life, and I'm even worse in this. So as you see it load in, it draws the background, and then it draws different layers, and then it'll start drawing in the trees, and then it'll draw in all of the rest of the details to the course, which is pretty interesting because most games, especially games nowadays, are covered up by loading screens, but now you get to actually see the computer trying to work to create the system. Down in the bottom left, we have a wind, kind of like a wind flag. It tells you the speed of the wind and the direction, which should help you line up your shot a little bit better. You aim with left and right, and then use the B button on the controller to swing back and swing forward. Still trying to get the swing down. It is a bit confusing. As you see, I just hooked the ball. Luckily, the wind should hopefully help me out. But it's a little confusing because over to the left, there's not really an explanation as to what the red bar 2/3 of the way up is, or the red at the top, or any of that. So you just kind of have to guesstimate with it and figure it out. I have spent some time in the driving range part of this game and thought I had it down, but clearly not if I'm driving over into the rough so easily. So we're going to try and hopefully get onto the green. And that is not a bad shot. I guess there was a ridge, hence why the ball fell down so far. But again, in a 2D space, that's something fairly hard to show off. It actually looks not that bad for a 16-bit game, and it plays fairly well. I think it would be more enjoyable, obviously, if I understood the controls a little bit better, because there's no part or no menu in the game to actually explain how to use the control bar to the left or when you want to be pressing the buttons. So you just kind of have to go with it. But you start to kind of get a feel with it, and that is a little bit helpful. Now we have, instead of wind, we have a break, and it's just saying that it's going to go, the ball would go straight forward if I hit it straight forward. There's no real curves to this green as far as I can tell. If you are on a different green, it will point in a direction and tell you how hard it breaks as well, which is useful for lining up your shots. So we are going to go take a shot. And that's not too terrible. That looks pretty close. Might be able to actually get this in under 15 shots, which would basically be a record for me. It does actually, the loading, as you can see, does start to kind of break the pace of the game, but simulates golf. It's pretty slow. Alright, so we actually got par. I believe that is the best I have done on a single hole. So I'm going to keep the best score that I have, and we're just going to head back to the clubhouse. And as you can see right here, it's going to give you the restart password, which is a bunch of different characters, and if we were to go type that in, then it would bring us back to that course. It would start us in hole 2, and our score would be 4. So instead of saving to files, that's what they try to do with it. And that's about all I have time to show you guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. It's actually a fairly fun game once you start to get used to the controls. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed.